Now, Ashton Genty does have something up on Travis. They'll be in a bowl game, Colorado, but Ashton Genty is a part of the college football playoff. His team, Boise State, Arizona State, Georgia, and Oregon, the number one overall seed, all has buys. Now to break it down for y'all, it's 16 teams. First round is December 20th and the 21st. For y'all, now that we have this setup, it's not just the top four teams. We got a full slate of 12 teams, right? It's 12, right? Yeah, 12. I don't know why I said 16. I'm thinking about college basketball. Anywho, 12 team playoff right here, set up like that. This is the first time we're seeing it. What are some of the most intriguing matchups for y'all? And of course, we got to know our listeners, our viewers want to know who do y'all see actually winning the whole thing?
Man,
That Tennessee Ohio State game, I feel like
that's a good game.
that's a good game. That's gonna be a
That's a real good game.
so. I think that might be the best one of the opening round games. Because Indiana versus Notre Dame, I could watch that on mute. Clemson, Texas, that one, that one could be good because Quinn Ewers is playing like a guy who's going to leave next year, and not for the league, for the portal. So that could be a game where we see an upset where Clemson knocks off Texas. So that's another one that's very interesting. And then Penn State, SMU. I feel like Penn State should win that pretty easily. And then what you're saying is like the team that I think is going to win it, probably Georgia. I just think that of the teams that are left, well, I'll take that back. Let me say Oregon because I don't know if Carson Beck is going to be able to play after that injury in the championship game, and if they have to roll with that backup, which he got the job done, but you're asking a lot of him to go ahead and win a couple games against some of the best teams in the country. I don't know if he's ready for that, so I'm going to roll with Oregon. I think the way that they run their offense, it's very electric. It's typical for Oregon. A lot of spread offense, a lot of motion. They they work really quick. Dylan Gabriel, really good quarterback this year. So um, I'm rocking with Oregon still.
I'm gonna take Georgia. I'll take the SEC powerhouse that always gets it done. Not a fun pick, not a pick that's off the wall and no one expected it. But I mean, every time I watch Georgia play, the defense is just dominant. I think the Carson Beck injury is a very fair, um, thing to take into consideration. But I just think that as a whole, they have the most NFL players on offense and defense kind of playing for them. Man, they're a powerhouse. They still maintain that supremacy as a football team in terms of getting the most talent, and the SEC being the best conference in football. So I'm gonna go with them to get the job done. I think looking at a team like Oregon, and I know they're Big Ten now. Um, but seeing them, I still look at them like they're a Pac-12 team, man. And these Pac-12 teams are finesse, and they're not as physical. And Georgia is just way too physical for a team like that. That is really finesse and is really, um, just trying to win on the edges, trying to win outside with these throws and these screen passes and the spread offense and all that stuff. And Dylan Gabriel, we don't really gonna see how good of a quarterback you are playing against the best talent in the country. Not saying he isn't, but if you look at it from an NFL standpoint, is he a guy you want leading your franchise? Is that how good you feel about him? I don't. I don't. So I think this will be a good time for us to get a good look at him. I'm more excited than anything else to watch the kid Nico play football for Tennessee and go up against that Ohio State defense, which is really really talented. I think it's going to be a chance for him to have a coming out party, so to speak, right? And to come out there and show everybody he's the real deal, and for his name to become a household name in football, because that's a guy that people are going to be looking at in the NFL draft next year, and probably talking about as one of the number one or number two pick in the draft, or at most, at worst, number three. So. Um, there's a lot to be excited about when you look at it. There's a lot to be excited about the college ball playoff as well. Can James Franklin finally win a big game? We'll find out. Playing against SMU, there's a chance they lose that game, man. I mean, he's never won a big game before. Why would he start now? Kind of way I look at it. Like, well, let's get a look and see what happens. But yeah, man, the college football playoff overall is exciting, and I think it's interesting this year. We have teams like Arizona State with a bye. Never would have seen that coming, right? Never would have seen. Well, maybe the experts would have, but I sure didn't. So it'll be really, really interesting to see how this all goes and to see if Georgia can pull it off in spite of the injuries. And I know Beck's had some time to rest, so we'll see.